Well, I have finally beaten Pokémon Legends Z-A. Now, this game came out 10 days ago on October 16th, and here we are on October 26th, and I finally finished the game. Not the entire game, but most of the game. I think I only have like one more ending left to do, and then I would have finished the entire game. But for now, I'm just going to be sticking to the stuff that I have completed, which is the, main story and the Zygarde boss fight. Those are the things that I have completed. And I just want to give my overall thoughts on the game, because to my surprise, there was a lot of people hating on this game. Like, they were calling it boring, they were calling it, like, disappointment, and all that. I myself was super looking forward to this game. Like, I was very much intrigued by the whole, like, kind of modern day setting, because Legends Arceus, which was the last, like, Legends game that we got, I think that came out back in 2022. That game didn't really interest me all that much, so I never really got around to playing it, but I do basically know what happens in that game, and essentially you are taken by Arceus and you are sent into the past to, like, stop Volo, who's trying to, like, capture Arceus and Giratina. And so basically Arceus sends you into the past, into the Hisui region, and basically you go and stop Volo. But the ending of that game is pretty dark, because after you defeat Volo and everything, your ass is stuck there in the past. Like, you don't even get to, like, go back to the present. You are stuck there in the Hisui region, like, basically forever. And it's like, damn, talk about a dark ending. This ending, thankfully, or this game, thankfully, does not have an insanely dark ending like that, but it does kind of have a strange ending, because basically, in Legends Z-A, you are a tourist who's not from the Kalos region. Like, you're just there visiting Lumio City, and just, like, so happens that at the same time you're going to visit Lumio City is the same time that Prison Tower starts to, like, basically, like, go crazy and has all, like, this mega power being stored inside of it, and just starts losing control literally the moment you show up. And so this one girl or boy, depending on, like, if you're a dude, then you get the female, like, rival, but if you're a female character, then you get the male rival. Basically, the rival character, as soon as you show up to the region, just, like, immediately takes you and is like, well, you're helping us with this situation now, so good luck with that. You're just like, I just got here. Like, can we just chill out for like 2 seconds? And so yeah, you're like roped into this whole situation that's going on. And then by the end of the game, again, you're like basically trapped in Lumio City, because if you try to leave Lumio City, you end up like, it's kind of like a dream where you end up waking up on a bench as you like try to leave Lumio City. So it's kind of the same as Legends Arceus, where you're kind of just stuck there in a place that's not your home. So it's kind of like another crazy ending, but not really as crazy as being stuck in the past. You're just stuck in Lumio City. But yeah, overall, there are people saying that this game is boring and disappointment. To me, I don't really feel that way. I had a pretty fun time playing this game. The start of the game can be a bit of a drag, like, when you're going through the tutorials and everything. That part is a bit of a drag, it is kind of slow. But after, like, an hour or so, that is when the game finally, like, lets you do your own thing and all that. And when you get to that part, that is actually pretty cool, especially when you get the Mega Evolution, because I'm pretty sure that you first get Mega Evolution when you reach rank, I think it's G? It's either rank G or rank F, but I'm pretty sure it is rank G when you're given Mega Evolution. And once you're given Mega Evolution, the game becomes really fun and all that. And basically, I try to have my team have only Mega Evolution Pokemon. Like, all the Pokemon on my team, I wanted to be able to Mega Evolve. So, my final team for the game was Emboar, because I liked Mega Emboar the most out of the 3 starters. Mega Meganium looked okay. Mega Feraligatr looked kind of lazy in my opinion. So, out of the 3 starters, I liked Mega Emboar the most, so I ended up going with Tepig for mine. So yeah, but my final team was Emboar, Lucario, Dragonite, Dragalge, Greninja, and Ampharos. That was my final team. Obviously, post-game, and it's a little bit different. I think as of right now, I have, Emboar, Lucario, Greninja, and then I have Clefable, and then Dragonite, and then Zygarde, because I obviously have completed the Zygarde mission. So that's my team as of right now. And like I said, all 6 of those Pokemon, and the 6 Pokemon I mentioned before, can Mega Evolve. So yeah, that's kind of what I like to have on my team. But overall, I thought this game was pretty fun, and the ending, like the main ending that you get where, you have to defeat the, well, it appears that my clock has died. I might have to charge that because it keeps dying every now and then. Yeah, anyways, like I was saying, the ending went absolutely hard. Like, the boss fight between Zygarde and the Aang Tower, like, because basically AZ ends up creating, like, this ultimate weapon thing, and it ends up coming to life because the rival character and Mega Floette end up going to the tower to, like, control it and everything. And then, basically, as soon as they, like, try to control it, it just immediately, like, goes crazy and becomes like the ultimate weapon thing that AZ created, and that is Aang, which is like basically the name of the weapon that AZ created. And so you have to like battle the tower and all that. There's like these flowers that like emerge from the ground, or like these venomous flowers. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. Basically, there's like these flower creatures that like emerge from the ground that you gotta fight against. And that part is kind of annoying because there's like two attacking you at the same time. But once you kind of get the rhythm of it, it's not super hard. But then the final ending where you have to like team up with Zygarde to like take down the tower, that part went absolutely hard because, basically Zygarde gives you this pebble towards like the start of the game. It's like this little like rock pebble thing. And as soon as he gave you that, I was like, that pebble is going to end up breaking and becoming Mega Zygarde, because obviously we knew that Zygarde was going to be getting a Mega form in Legends Z-A because there was like 23 new Megas in this game, and Zygarde was one of those Pokemon that were given a new Mega evolution. And so when Zygarde gives you this pebble towards the start of the game, I was immediately like, that pebble is going to break and it's going to be the Zygarde Mega Stone. And sure enough, that is exactly what happens. You take the pebble that's in your pocket and you like grasp it really hardly, and then it ends up breaking and turning into the Zygarde Mega Stone. And so you end up Mega Evolving Zygarde to defeat the tower. And that part went absolutely hard. That was like probably the best part of the game because the visuals, they were absolutely crazy. And yeah, just like, fighting the tower with Zygarde, I thought was pretty dang fun. And this game in particular, like the Legends game series, they don't really do the same thing as the standard Pokemon games, where it's like you attack and then you wait for your opponent to attack and then you attack and it goes back and forth like that. That's not really how it is in the Legends games, because basically for like Legends Arceus and Legends Z-A, you get to like move around as you're attacking your opponent. So it's not really you attack and they attack, you attack, they attack. It's more so you just attack whenever and your opponent attacks whenever. Like you don't really have to wait for them. All you have to wait for is a cooldown. Like there's no like those moves where it's like they have a certain amount of times where you can use them before you can't use that move anymore. It's not like that in Legends Z. There's just a cooldown that you have to wait for. And that, I think, is pretty dang cool, where, there's not really like a limit to how many times you can use a move. You can just use a move as long as the timer runs, or as long as the timer comes back. That, I think, is nice, and it gives like a nice dynamic between the regular Pokemon games where, you have to attack and then wait for your opponent to attack. That, kind of gets a little boring. And also in these Legends games, there's no gym leaders or anything like that. You just go from one destination to the next destination. And so, I like that they change up the formula from the standard Pokemon games to like the Legends games, so that they don't feel exactly the same. I do like that they do that. But overall, I thought this game was really fun, and the Zygarde boss fight that you have to do after you beat the main game, because you get the main game, and then after that, there's like a post-credit scene, and then there's the Zygarde boss fight that you have to do afterwards. And to get the Zygarde boss fight, you have to catch Yveltal and Xerneas, and then after you catch those two guys, you gotta go to Hotel Z, and then once you go to Hotel Z, you battle Lysander. And then after you do that, Zygarde shows up and is like, basically like, wants to have a battle with you, so you go to Prison Tower, and you have to fight Zygarde in his 10% form, his 50% form, and his complete form. And the first two forms aren't really that hard, but the complete form is kind of a pain in the ass. I think that took me like, I don't know, probably like 8 tries before I finally was able to beat him. Because, yeah, that was the team where I used like Dragonite, Clefable, and I also had to use Xerneas for that team. But yeah, it took me like probably 8 tries before I finally beat Zygarde. Because the complete form of Zygarde was a major pain in the ass. But it's still a pretty cool battle nonetheless, because, you have to fight them in all three forms. And so yeah, that is how I defeated Zygarde. It took me 8 tries. But overall, I really did enjoy this game. Like I said, a lot of people thought it was boring, thought it was disappointing. I don't really feel that way. I think if you're a Pokemon fan, you're probably gonna enjoy this game overall. And I think if I had to rate this game, I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Like, it is a pretty solid game, and I'm very much looking forward to the next generation of Pokemon that is coming out in 2026, because this game ended up taking the spot that Generation 10 would have taken if Legends Z-A didn't come out. But yeah, because usually Pokemon releases a new game like every 3 years, but because of Legends Z-A coming out in 2025, they decided to push Generation 10 probably to next year, 2026, because that is the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. So, they could do something cool there. And I do like that this is essentially the sequel to X and Y, because this game takes place 5 years after the events of X and Y. But there's not really too many characters in X and Y that appear in Legends Z-A. There's a couple characters, like, you have Emma, you have Lysander, like I mentioned, and then you have Mabel, who is now, like, the acting director because Professor Sycamore ended up retiring, which I thought was kind of interesting, or, like, kind of strange. But, yeah, those are, like, really the only characters from X and Y that appear in Legends Z-A. Well, except for AZ as well. And then, yeah, there's no, like, Alon, there's no, like, Clement, Serena, none of those characters. Just, like, bunch of new characters, and then a couple characters from X and Y into Legends Z-A. Yeah, that's essentially the sequel game that got canceled back in, like, I think 2016, because I'm pretty sure that Pokemon X and Y were supposed to have sequel games, but because of Sun and Moon, the Pokemon Z game ended up getting canceled. So that is what intrigued me the most about Legends Z-A, is that it is essentially the Pokemon Z game that we would have gotten back in 2016. And I do like that they also added like 23 more Mega Evolutions, and the fact that we're getting even more Mega Evolutions in the DLC, like with Mega Raichu X and Y, and then I think there's some other Pokemon that are getting new Megas. That I think is also pretty cool, so I very much look forward to the DLC whenever that's going to be coming out. Yeah, overall, I did really enjoy this game. Like I said, I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. Yeah, overall, I really did enjoy this, and I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. We are only 60 subscribers away from 700, so if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, and you guys can let me know what you thought of Pokemon Legends Z-A, and if you're excited for Generation 10 that's coming out next year. I think we probably get our first trailer for it in February, January. It's usually when they like to release, trailers for their games, is like in January or February. So we could expect the trailer for Generation 10 right around the corner. But yeah, overall, that's going to wrap it up for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.